The global K-pop scene has always thrived on success stories, but behind every triumph lies pressure, rivalry, and an unspoken battle for legitimacy beyond fandom-driven fame. In 2025, one name once again sent shockwaves through the industry: ROSÉ. When her collaboration with Bruno Mars' APT officially entered the top 10 at the RTHK International Pop Poll Awards, it wasn't just another headline, it was a moment that quietly exposed the harsh hierarchy of global pop recognition. For years, K-pop idols have been questioned, doubted, and boxed into a genre many Western gatekeepers refused to fully embrace. ROSÉ's win didn't simply celebrate popularity, it challenged the invisible barrier separating idol music from what the industry labels as real artistry. What makes this achievement resonate far deeper is the context surrounding it. The RTHK Awards are notoriously selective, valuing cross-cultural impact and musical credibility over viral hype. In an industry where chart numbers are often fueled by organized fandom power, APT stood out for a different reason. It was embraced organically by listeners outside the K-pop bubble. This moment signaled a shift not just for ROSÉ, but for how Korean artists are evaluated on a global scale. Success here isn't loud or flashy, it's quiet, heavy, and deeply unsettling for an industry that has long underestimated idol musicians. Yet beneath the applause lies a darker reality. For ROSÉ, this recognition comes with intensified scrutiny, higher expectations, and the unrelenting pressure to constantly prove she belongs. One collaboration can elevate an artist, but it can also isolate them from their roots, fueling silent tensions within an already competitive industry. As fans celebrate, the industry watches closely, calculating what this moment means for power dynamics, artistic freedom, and the future of K-pop artists trying to survive outside tightly controlled systems. This is only the beginning of a much larger story, one that reveals how fame, validation, and pressure collide behind the spotlight. If you want to understand what this win truly means for ROSÉ and the hidden cost of global recognition in K-pop, make sure to subscribe, follow the channel, and stay with us as the story continues. As the initial excitement settled, the industry's reaction to ROSÉ's top 10 breakthrough revealed something far more complex than celebration alone. In K-pop, success is never isolated. It ripples outward, triggering silent comparisons, internal pressure, and an unspoken ranking system that few idols openly acknowledge. APT was no longer just a song. It became a reference point, a measuring stick, quietly held against other artists attempting to cross into Western markets. For many within the industry, ROSÉ's achievement raised an uncomfortable question: if one idol could gain this level of international credibility, why couldn't others, and who would be left behind in the process? This is where the hidden tension begins. Global recognition doesn't always strengthen unity within K-pop. It often exposes fractures. Agencies pride themselves on control, image management, and predictable growth paths. ROSÉ's success achieved without sacrificing her musical identity disrupts that model. It suggests that individuality rather than rigid idol formulas may be the real currency of longevity. For companies built on standardization, this creates quiet anxiety. When an artist steps beyond the system and is rewarded for it, the system itself feels threatened. At the same time, ROSÉ's collaboration with Bruno Mars reignited debates about Western validation. Critics questioned whether true success required endorsement from established Western artists, while others argued that this partnership simply highlighted how long K-pop talent had been underestimated. The conversation quickly shifted from music to power: who decides what counts as global and who gets access to those platforms. Behind closed doors, these discussions aren't philosophical, they're strategic, influencing future collaborations, contract negotiations, and even trainee development. For ROSÉ, the spotlight became sharper and less forgiving. Every move, every vocal choice, every silence now carries amplified meaning. Praise brings expectation, and expectation breeds pressure. The industry's applause is conditional, and the fall from such heights is always closer than it appears. This is the paradox of K-pop fame. The higher an idol rises, the less room they have to breathe. ROSÉ's moment didn't just elevate her, it placed her at the center of a storm that continues to grow. While ROSÉ's global validation continued to dominate headlines, another tension quietly surfaced beneath the celebration: the fragile balance between individual success and group identity in K-pop. In an industry built on unity, synchronized branding, and collective narratives, a single member breaking through internationally can create invisible strain. ROSÉ's rise reignited long-standing conversations about hierarchy within groups, favoritism from agencies, and the silent comparisons that fans rarely see but insiders constantly feel. Success in this context is never neutral. It reshapes perception both inside the group and far beyond it. For idols, global recognition is not just a reward, it is a test. Once an artist is acknowledged outside the K-pop ecosystem, expectations shift instantly. ROSÉ was no longer judged solely by idol standards but measured against global pop artists with vastly different creative freedoms. This transition brings risk. The industry applauds expansion yet quietly resists change. When idols gain too much independence, they challenge the very structures designed to manage them. Contracts, schedules, creative input all become points of tension as success amplifies an artist's voice. At the same time, the public narrative surrounding ROSÉ began to evolve. Media framing subtly moved away from group-based identity toward individual artistry. While this progression appears positive on the surface, it carries consequences. K-pop history is filled with examples where individual recognition led to fractured relationships, internal competition, or long-term distance between members. Fans may celebrate growth, but agencies calculate stability. The question is never about talent, it's about control. ROSÉ's journey now sits at a crossroads, familiar to many idols who have stood at the edge of global acceptance. Move forward and risk isolation. Stay aligned with the system and risk stagnation. The pressure isn't dramatic or explosive, it's slow, psychological, and relentless. Every achievement tightens the space she must navigate, where one misstep could redefine public perception entirely. In K-pop, success doesn't end the struggle, it transforms it. Just as the industry was still dissecting ROSÉ's rise, the narrative shifted abruptly, revealing how unforgiving the K-pop spotlight truly is. Attention moved with ruthless speed, and another name surged into focus not through music charts, but through a completely different battlefield: Lisa. Her appearance in a Western television production didn't arrive with loud promotions or carefully staged hype. Instead, it triggered something far more dangerous: unscripted interest from powerful figures outside the K-pop system. In an industry obsessed with control, unpredictability is both rare and threatening. What unsettled observers wasn't screen time or visuals, but reaction speed. Within days, industry professionals began circling quietly, signaling curiosity. This wasn't fan-driven noise, it was professional attention, the kind that doesn't announce itself until decisions are already forming. For K-pop idols, crossing into Western acting has historically been risky, often dismissed as novelty casting. Lisa's situation felt different. The response suggested evaluation, not curiosity, and that distinction changes everything. This sudden shift exposed another uncomfortable truth about K-pop's global expansion. When idols gain recognition beyond music, they begin to outgrow the lanes assigned to them. Acting, film, and cross-industry influence represent freedom, but also conflict. Agencies thrive on predictability, yet careers like Lisa's move toward uncertainty, where image management becomes harder and creative control becomes contested territory. Each new door opening for her quietly questions how much control the system can realistically maintain. Public perception began to change almost instantly. Discussions moved away from popularity and aesthetics toward credibility and long-term potential. This evolution is rare and it carries weight. Once an idol is taken seriously outside their original industry, expectations shift permanently. There is no return to simplicity. For Lisa, this moment marked the start of a phase where every move is watched, not just by fans, but by decision-makers capable of reshaping her future entirely. In K-pop, this level of attention is both a breakthrough and a burden. As dust settles, one reality becomes impossible to ignore. K-pop is no longer just exporting idols, it is exporting risk. ROSÉ's global validation and Lisa's sudden industry attention are not isolated victories, they are pressure points exposing the fragile balance between control and freedom. When idols move beyond music charts into global recognition, the system that built them begins to lose its grip. Fame at this level no longer belongs to fandoms alone. It invites scrutiny, competition, and silent power struggles behind closed doors. For ROSÉ, international credibility raises the stakes of every future release. For Lisa, professional attention from outside the K-pop machine signals a path that cannot be reversed. These moments redefine what success costs. The spotlight grows harsher, expectations sharper, and mistakes less forgivable. K-pop's global era is no longer about breaking in, it's about surviving what comes after. Now, the question shifts to you. Are these breakthroughs the beginning of true artistic freedom or the start of even heavier pressure for idols who dare to step outside the system? Share your thoughts, like the video, and comment below. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because this story is far from over and the next chapter of K-pop's hidden reality is coming sooner than you think.